All right. Well, good morning and good afternoon. And for those of you tuning in from all over the world, good night as well. Thank you so much for joining us for today's overview and conversation about the new global startup program at Singularity University. And I absolutely love this tagline so much because it really encompasses what we're doing with the GSP. It's all about radical ideas and real impact. So my name is Monique Giggy. I am the Vice President of Singularity University Ventures.
And I'm Molly Pyle. I'm the Senior Program Manager of SU Ventures.
So for those of you who haven't heard about SU, let me just kind of give you high level. We believe that over the next 30 years, we're going to encounter some of the greatest change in technology that the world has ever seen. And that it really takes a group of people with a different mindset to come together and understand how technologies converge to really create the type of impact that we want to see in the world. And so that's why our mission is to empower leaders of major corporations and world governments to really understand how exponential technologies work to create the biggest impact in the world. So this journey really began for me after selling my last company, Swing by Swing Golf. I was walking down Castro Street, which is here in Mountain View, and a friend of mine had mentioned this mission. Have you ever heard of Singularity University? Because they're out to positively impact the lives of 1 billion people. And it came from our founder, Peter Diamandis. And I thought, wow, an organization that thinks at that scale, like that's really something that I want to be a part of. And so I applied and fortunately was accepted to GSP 2014. This is actually me right there in that year. And I'm telling you, that was truly one of the most transformative experiences of my life. Up to that point, I thought I knew technology, but I was in a fast-paced environment that was showing me how technologies converge to understand where future trends are going, in addition to really showing me what we call our global grand challenges, which is the impact space. And at Singularity University, we are all about the global grand challenges, and it's time. Right now is the time, because of where technologies are at, that we can actually solve them. So here's a list of what our current GGCs are. And fundamentally, we believe that the world's biggest challenges are ultimately its greatest opportunities. So these are in categories like energy, what's going on with battery storage, what's going on with different types of energy consumption, what's going on in governments, look at changes in educational technology in the learning space, or in med tech and digital health in the health GGC. So this is a chart that shows you, it's very overwhelming, not perfect for a PowerPoint presentation, but it shows you how technologies are converging to create new industries. And what we do in GSP is we spend a lot of time understanding these trends. We understand what drives them, how they ride, how they converge, and we are constantly looking at different convergences across blockchain, artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D printing. So GSP is exponential. I can tell you that from firsthand experience. It's cutting edge, it's future focused, it's impactful, and it's absolutely transformative. It's all about bringing together a like-minded group of startups to understand how technologies converge to create new industries and opportunities. We talk a lot about how the future will be borderless, and starting to help companies think about themselves as global from the start. And it's really about inspiring leaders to solve the world's problems. Here's a little bit about our traction over time. So over the last 10 years, we've had about 693 people go through the GSP. Out of it, there's been a little over 1,000 impact initiatives specifically from GSP. We've had impact in 145 countries. And what's great is about 88% of the startups who ultimately join our portfolio end up going on to raise follow-on funding. And I love this last stat the most because it's about, we beat the pants off of Silicon Valley stats in that 70% of our founders or of our startups are co-founded by females. I get this question all the time, so I want to bring it up for you now. To date, we have about a little over 1,000 startups in our entire ecosystem. 186 of them have come out of GSP, and currently we have 56 active GSP startups. they have collectively raised about $462 million for their respective startups. And that's compared to about $617 million of our overall startups in the SU portfolio. It's pretty cool. So here's, a very, very tiny sample of some of our top companies. I ran out of space on my slides, so that's why I only go up till 2014. But, in 2009, we had the world's first P2P chartering service, which was Getaround, that came out of GSP. Then in 2010, we had the world's first zero-gravity 3D printer. So Made in Space is printing, actual wrenches and technology in space. In 2011, our first autonomous transportation company, so drone delivery company that's able to deliver, at the time, medical devices or diagnostics or into remote areas. So that was that was Matternet. In 2013, we had Miraculous, which is an automated microfluidics platform. In 2014, which was my year, we had our first smart pad that uses a different type of female blood for medical analysis, first of its kind. So as you can see here, out of GSP, we've had a lot of firsts. So what's GSP going to be in the future? After 10 years of perfecting this incredible program, we're going exponential. We literally have become exponential, which means we're taking it global. We're going to meet and educate more startups, make it truly global in nature, create it to be absolutely scalable. And with that, that's how we get our billion impact through the startup ecosystem. So let's take a look at the program. It works like this. It sits on 4 weeks of what we call Gsp Activate, and that happens in another country. This is where we work with startups and look at your current infrastructure, what technology and what industry that you're in, and our job is to help you really level up some of your best thinking. We want you thinking at the billion scale. We're going to show you all the technology convergences. We're going to really start to shift your mind about what the future is going to look like, and that happens in this first 4 weeks of Activate. Then you've got 4 weeks back with your team, and then we put you on a plane to Silicon Valley for another 4 weeks of Accelerate. And so we're at this point in time now, we're taking that billion scale idea, turning it down into a minimum viable product, doing a lot of validation. We're infusing you deeply into the SU network and the Silicon Valley network here. And then, of course, looking at different opportunities for funding. So it's 4 weeks of Activate, 4 weeks off, and then 4 weeks of Accelerate. And the whole thing sits on top of this beautiful digital platform that we're calling Gsp Connect. And that keeps you connected to the faculty that you work with our mentors, with the advisors here. It gives you access into deep dive courses with Peter D. and others. You get regular check-ins with your board of advisors and with your mentors and with the team that you work with here. And then, of course, we're ultimately trying to make you very discoverable through all of our different international summit stages. Next year, we'll do 25 international summits. We'll have 10 different campuses globally. So our job is really trying to build up your thought leadership and keep you very relevant. So how about our beautiful program manager here? Can you take us through
Yeah, absolutely. So as Monique mentioned, the program kicks off in person with Gsp Activate. And the goal of Gsp Activate is to really help you ideate at the billion scale. So learn how to come up with a new product or service that could scale globally in this borderless future and ultimately serve a billion plus customers. So in the first week, we really want to hone you in on that goal. You'll understand exponential technologies, what it really means when they're converging to create new markets and new industries, and what that means for you and the verticals that you're looking at. So the first week really sparks this personal transformation as you begin to understand what does it mean for these technologies to converge. And we take you on a deep dive kind of sprint to better understand that for sort of future forecasting. And then in a sci-fi DI sort of lens as well. So designing and imagining different futures for your company. Then in week 2, we'll help you further ideate and really think about the problem you're trying to solve. And at the billion scale, what does it look like when it really goes global? And how do you actually do that? And how do you think about the different cultural contexts of taking a product or service into many different emerging markets? So we want you to really understand that from this future lens as well. By the 3rd week, you're understanding, again, how to reverse engineer this path that you've identified for scalable growth, and you're mapping actually the forecasting that you're looking at creating in the world. So you're actually putting together the milestones and looking at the way the technologies are converging and what that means for you over time, not just in 6 months, but in 5, 10, 15 years. By week 4, you've got a really strong narrative here. And now it's just about perfecting that and telling other people, maybe your new mentors, new advisors, even new team members if you need to hire to help scale. So how can you galvanize other people to really understand what you're doing and what it means for them in the future and the industries we're all interested in disrupting? Then you'll move into the accelerate phase, which, as the name implies, is really where we put the pedal to the metal and your building scale idea becomes a reality. So you'll meet us in Silicon Valley and you'll be completely immersed in the ecosystem here. You'll be at SU at NASA Ames. You'll get to work on prototyping with our resident makers in our iLab, get feedback and validation that the new product or service you're thinking about bringing into market is actually scalable at the billion level and is something that will really solve a global grand challenge. So by the second week, you're working on that global go-to-market strategy, refining your business models, and doing some pricing and monetizing innovation with one of the founders of LegalZoom, actually. So how can we think about internationalizing, again, our models so that we better understand what we're doing, where we're going? By week 3, you're looking at your fundraising plan. So maybe you're bringing in your existing VCs or existing investors and angels, or you're looking at new strategies. So maybe you need to go the impact investing route or raising through philanthropy. So we'll help you really understand that and what it looks like, again, if you're not based in the US, or if you are, how can you, again, think about going global in the operational and tactical sense, so that by week 4, you have a 6-month roadmap, you have a very clear plan of the legal and operational and visionary aspects of going global and serving billions. And then ultimately, how do you pitch this idea and get more folks to be involved, to invest, to join your team? So we have a culminating demo fair where you can really produce the final product of your time here. But that is not where the program ends. You will stay connected, as Monique said again, on this beautiful digital platform that we've created, where it's designed to help you stay engaged throughout the rest of the time, because we know that the moonshots you're trying to build and the new products and services you're integrating might take some time. So you need more chances to learn, more verticals to explore. So we want to give you Connect, which offers you, again, 1 year of access to our mentor database of over 400 mentors and growing every day. Different faculty, different advisors, our staff.
How many faculty do we have now?
Faculty is somewhere over 200 and also growing every single day as we're expanding into new countries and creating these new country partnerships. So this is a great time, again, to be tapping into this ecosystem and seeing the ways that we're transforming all around the world. And again, you can tap into our expert content in the online learning courses that we'll offer, go deep dive into different techs and different verticals in business, and then virtual meetups. So talk to Peter D, talk to Ray, get the state of the state and what they think about the future. They'll be doing quarterly check-ins with you all, as well as an executive coach to help you, because again, this is a really big task you're taking on to bring something new into the market. And you need to be an exponential leader, right, in order to make this happen. So we also want to cover you from that side of the house and make sure you have some really fantastic leadership training to help you own your authentic leadership skills. And then also peer-to-peer support. You're going to fall in love with the cohort and your fellow founders. So we want to make sure you have opportunities to re-engage, to have reunions, to have meetups, to meet at one of our 25 international summits around the world and engage with one of our 127 chapters. So many in-person opportunities to meet up throughout the year, as well as digitally. And then, of course, we'll all gather at the Global Summit in San Francisco.
So one thing I want to mention about GSP Connect is that, you're going to discover that once you've spent some time here, you're going to meet a ton of people. And so Connect is really about maintaining that new network of yours, making sure that you continue to have access to it both in Silicon Valley and globally. And the fact that Peter Diamandis and Ray Kurzweil are able to check in with you, you're going to get a point of view about what you're building, as well as kind of a state of the industry and where they see trends are going throughout the 12 months. And so this part of the program is a lot where a lot of the richness is and the deep support that comes after spending, 4 weeks in a country and then 4 weeks with your team and then 4 weeks in Silicon Valley. It's our connective tissue for you. So this is just a very tiny sample of, I think Molly mentioned we have over 200 faculty. I'm wondering if it's actually even more, because as we open up new campuses, they bring in faculty as well. So in GSP, you're going to hear from our founders. So Peter Diamandis, he is the co-founder of Singularity University, also the executive chairman and CEO of the X Prize. He's written tons of books, including Bold and Abundance. From Ray Kurzweil, our other founder, who wrote oh my gosh,
Singularity is near.
I said exponential is near.
That too.
Singularity is near. He's an incredible forecaster, understands technologies, and just listening to him is a truly transformative moment in itself. You're going to hear from our expert forecaster, Paul Sappho. You hear from the entrepreneur man himself, our chair of entrepreneurship, Pascal Finette. Ramez Nam will come in and talk about energy and environment. You'll hear a lot about the blockchain from Natana. And then Dr. Divya Chander will come in and talk to you about the state of neuroscience, what's going on in healthcare and different medical devices. You actually get a lot of deep dive content in and around the healthcare space. I put this slide in here because this just gives you a small idea of all of the partners that we work with at SU. So as a business, we have a lot of corporate clients and a lot of enterprise clients all around the world. We work with the majority of the Fortune 500, and this is a small sample. Now you can look at these folks as your potential go-to-market partners, potential early piloters, potential customers, and what you're trying to do. And so very early on, we're trying to connect you into them, intentionally matching you up with larger enterprises that might have an interest in what you're doing, or you might have an interest in partnering with them in some capacity. Our network is insane. It's absolutely incredible. To date, we have 164,000 folks in our community globally. From that, there's about 42,000 alumni. So these are people who have been through a program, either a GSP or an executive program, that are going to have a very similar mindset. It's great to find co-founders through. It's great to find thought leaders and partners through. And then, we're in 127 countries. It's what makes this program truly global, is in the connections that we have globally around the world. So let's kind of sum this up here. So next year, there will be 2 GSPs. The first one kicks off in April, and that's going to happen in Denmark. So it'll be 4 weeks in Denmark, and then 4 weeks off, and then 4 weeks in Silicon Valley. And then in August, we kick off the second GSP, and that's going to be in South Africa. So it'll be 4 weeks in South Africa, 4 weeks off, and then 4 weeks in Silicon Valley. So in 2019 alone, GSP will be on 3 different continents. It's like pretty awesome. So the price is $30,000 per person. We do have sponsorships available. And so if you decide to apply and you want to indicate that you're looking for a sponsorship, that'll happen in the application phase. It's a 2-part application phase. So if you want to apply, that's step 1. And then we make a decision based off of that. And if you're looking for sponsorship, then there's a whole phase 2 that'll come with that. If you're looking for sponsorship, I highly, highly have to push you to apply very, very early, because we're going to get a lot of demand for this program. Okay. And we provide, that includes all of your lodging, that includes all of your food, all the lab and prototyping support that you need, all the in-program content. There's different places that we're going to take you to, especially when you're in Silicon Valley, to meet with different leaders. So it includes transportation to all of that. And then of course, this is all of your content, etc. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, that's all. I think just that the co-working space, your food, your lodging, like none of that can be understated, because that is really your community building time, right? You're going to be in community, living with folks, working with them, having meals with everybody, mentors dropping in to join an impromptu drum circle at 9 p.m. or at 7 a.m. coffee with an investor. It's really an all-encompassing experience that's transformative, right? So it's beyond just a 9 to 5 kind of program.
Totally. Oh, and that does include Connect as well. All of the digital access as well. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Global Impact Challenges. This is a way that you can compete in your home country in what we call a GIC, or a Global Impact Challenge. And what we do is we'll put a call out, and we're looking for startups that are already in the GGC space. So they're already in the space solving the global grand challenges. And then the winners of those competitions will get a full scholarship to the Global Startup Program, okay? So check out our website at suventures.com/GIC, and that will show you all the different locations around the world where we'll be running GICs, and that is constantly getting updated. So, if that is a potential area that you'd like to get involved or, try to win, it's a great way to come in. Some of our best startups have come in through GICs. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about who should apply. How do you know if this program is right for you? So this is what we are going to be looking for. One, are you in one of those GGC categories? Are you in education, healthcare? Are you maybe in energy, disaster resilience, privacy? Security? There's 10 different categories. So these are 10 different industries that we're looking for. And then we're looking for a minimum of 2 people from your company that can come. This program moves really fast. There's a lot of content, a lot of synthesis that happens with new information. And so if you have 2 people that can come, that's your best bet, because you're going to move a lot faster and be able to work with your team back home as well. We're looking for fully formed startups. So this is a program for startups, not individuals who are looking to start a startup. We have an incubator for that. So this is, you've got a startup, you've been in business for a while now. I think startups that are really good for this program are the ones that have some new ideas that they really want to level up. They've taken their startup, through maybe the seed round, and now they're ready to take it to the next level. And they need some new sort of thinking and thought leaders around them, new stimulation to get it to happen. So, in terms of traction, we're looking for, do you have sales? Do you have clinical trials? Are there LOIs and purchase orders? How far along are you in the market? We are definitely looking for startups with traction, not brand new startups. We're going to evaluate you based on your ideas. So we want to see, where your current thinking is at, because we're looking for startups that we can really level up through this program, to think at the billion scale, to really understand and believe that they can go global, and then to really be in a place where they want to understand how these different technologies are going to converge. You don't already have to be doing that. We're just looking for the quality of the idea to see where we really kind of double down their skills there. And then location is everywhere. So we will take startups from all over the world. And there's going to be different locations around the world where you'll be able to come. And then of course, availability. So, it's 4 weeks, 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off, 4 weeks on. So you want to be able to know that time frame is going to work for you, because there's a lot of great content and support that you're going to get. So you want to make sure that you and the other person, are going to be able to be here for all of the program, or as much of it as you can. All right, so if you want to apply, the website is su.org/GSP. If you're going to apply, if you want to look at sponsorship or a scholarship, you want to apply very, very early. If you want to get a full ride, you want to look at the GIC, so the Global Impact Challenges. You can find that at su.org/GIC. If you have any questions, please email us. You can email us at ventures@su.org. You can reach out to me directly. There's a whole group of alumni. If you want to talk to alumni to learn more about the program and their experience, we can put you in touch. This is a 10-year-old program that we've really perfected. It's ready for its full exponential scalability. What else did I not say?
We are just so looking forward to you joining us to think at the billion scale, to create moonshots and bring them to new markets all around the world. So if you are a global startup, this is the program for you.
Yeah. All right. See you on the other side.
All right. I think we're ready for some questions. Let's see here. Hey, George. All right. Are nonprofit startups eligible? Yes, absolutely. Through SU Ventures, we work with both nonprofit and for-profit startups. Let's see. Ted says, is financial aid available? So as I mentioned before, there is a scholarship program. It's going to be based on, the overall, how old the startup is. A lot of those bullet points that I mentioned before, the quality of the idea. There'll be 2 phases. So, fill out the application first, and then as we get into evaluating the different startups that need some kind of, additional scholarship or sponsorship, we'll evaluate those in a second phase. Let's see, Juan, how's it going? How does lodging work, specifically concerned for married co-founders? Typically what we do is we mix up the cohort, and so you might not be staying with your co-founder, but if you want that, we can absolutely make arrangements. Okay, let's see. Adriana, hi, can a traditional business apply? Absolutely. If you're a business, you can apply. Okay, Milad, let's see. All these facilities are great, but the main problem is that I live in dark country, and each day the sanctions destroy the economies of my country. Let's see. Okay, this one, so accessing the program, I'm not sure I can answer that one specifically. Milad, if you have a more direct question, that would be helpful. All right, let's see here.
Yali asked it, so started to work on the idea, and I'm taking that means, are you asking, do you have to have a startup? And I would answer yes, this is a program for people who already have a startup. So as we say here, startup fully formed entities, that is the requirement, is that your startup is fully formed, you have at least 2 people working on it, you're solving a global grand challenge, you may have some demonstrated market traction, you have an idea that you're willing to take to the next level, and again, you can be located anywhere and available to travel.
Please stand by.
Please stand by while we reconnect our speakers.
And you are connected.
All right, so we're going old school, going over mobile. Forget the landline.
We're back, baby, and we're mobile. So we're still looking at your questions. Feel free to type any more in.
All right, so how to apply to the sponsorship? Marcello. All right, so first step is fill out an application at su.org/ventures, /GSP, and then that gets you into phase 1. For those of you that indicate that you would like to apply for a scholarship, there will be a follow-on phase going from there. Let's see, Mariana, what is the impact of your startup so far in terms of how much money they're making? You know, we're not looking at, I mean, if your startup is generating revenue, awesome. If it's not, you know, you're still in your seed stage, that's totally fine. That's not a criteria. We're just looking for overall traction. Hey, Yali, good to see you. So if you started, you answered that one? Okay, great. Mark, hey, Mark. He says, would the program be available for other GSP alumni? Absolutely. Come experience the new GSP if you want. Mark and I actually did GSP 14 together, so that'd be pretty awesome to see you again. Kevin, is this open to startups built on the edge of organizations? Absolutely. Just fill out an application. We'll have a close look. Applications. So Oksana, she asks, when does the application open? They are currently open right now. We highly encourage you. We're already doing a lot of evaluation. We've gotten a whole bunch of applications, and so I highly encourage you to apply early, especially if you want a scholarship, because it's going to take us time to review your needs and get you through phase 2. So applications are open. You can apply at su.org/GSP, and then we'll take a look from there. All right. So Milad says, my team was my family. At this time, I'm lonely. What can I do for this problem? You will, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Any thoughts?
Maybe if your family is no longer on your team, there's other people out there in the world who want to join your team, right? As long as you find one other person who believes and is willing to work on this idea with you, you've got a startup and keep on going, I'd say. Find the second dancer. That's all it takes, right?
Yeah. All right. Says, what is the timeline as far as when to apply, when do we find out, et cetera? So we'll be doing early admissions, and as people apply and be in communication with you. So it's a rolling admissions process. And like I said, if you're looking for a scholarship or sponsorship for this, I highly encourage you to apply very early. When you say early traction, this is from Subramanya. When you say early traction, what scale are you looking at? You know, the main takeaway from here is that, you know, we're looking for existing startups. So we're looking for companies that have been around. We want to build off of what you already know about your industry, your current traction, your current thinking in your team, and really help startups level up their ideas. So, traction can be demonstrated in letters of intent. It can be you've been in business for the last 3 years. It could be you raised some money. It could be you have some revenue. Completely open on that. All right. Let's see. It costs $30,000 per person or per team. That is a per person basis. So a team would be $60,000. Let's see here. Is English proficiency required and to what level? Yes, English proficiency is definitely a requirement. We do have startups that come from all over the world. Even through SU Ventures, 75% of our portfolio is non-US based. But those that don't have sufficient proficiency in English really do struggle with the content because, the whole program is in English, even though, a lot of side conversations are in a bunch of different languages. Let's see. Mirjam says, my co-founder cannot join all the sessions abroad. Can I still apply? Yes, you can. We can make it work. We understand that you all are running companies, and so a lot of the curriculum is accounted for that. So you can come and take as much as you want, and we'll work with you on that. Let's see. Adriana asks about previous GSP alumni. Yep, if you've done GSP and you want to do it again, fill out an application. Burke asks, hello, can people apply individually or should they apply as a team? I highly recommend if you're going to apply as a team, apply as a team. If you're going to apply individually, then you'll both need to do an application though, and then just reference each other. Let's see here. I am scanning through a nice long question. Okay, I'm going to skip that one for now and try to answer it towards the end. What does demonstrated? We talked about demonstrated market traction. Is it possible to join Gsp Connect network for those who aren't lucky to make Activate and Accelerator parts? That's a very astute and keen question, and we are looking at ways of making that possible. It might not happen in 2019, but definitely beyond. Let's see. Mariana asks about what is the annual billings of a 3-year startup. I think probably looking at clarification around the traction question. Again, we're looking at this as a case-by-case basis. We're just looking for startups that have been in business for a while. Kevin asks, I guess this is the last. Okay. Oh, is this the last time using ReadyTalk? Anna says, hello, it's Anna. Would a pilot project qualify for traction if we are at a very early stage? Anna, go ahead and apply. We'll take a look. Again, if your startup is a couple years old, your seed, maybe pre-seed, go ahead and apply. We'll take a closer look at what you're working on, the quality of the idea that you want, team composition, stuff like that. Let's see here. Marcello says, do you provide feedback on the submitted idea? We don't. But I'm sure if you ask very politely via email, we can probably get you something back. But it's not part of our current workflow, so no. Let's see here. Do we need a tech person on the team? Well, if you're building a exponential technology company or a heavily tech-focused company, it's a good idea to have a technology person on your team. In terms of whether or not you'll be accepted, it really is depending on what the startup does, what's the technology component. Again, we're really looking for startups that, are interested in these GGC categories, who really want to understand how exponential technologies converge to create new industries, new markets, and new opportunities that want to build at that billion scale, who are thinking about scale in ways that haven't been thought of before. And so, when we're evaluating different startups to come in, ultimately that's what we're trying to do. So if your startup is in that phase, if it's ready for that kind of growth, that kind of opportunity, you're probably a really good fit for this program. Let's see. Another question is there additional tech expertise I need, for example, in AI or AR? What is the usual method of seeking these tech expertise? So what we see is, if you don't have expertise in, augmented reality or artificial intelligence, this program is really good for connecting dots, actually collecting and connecting dots. And so you get an idea of where these technologies are going. And if you want to do a deeper dive in them, then you set up meetings and you start to seek out those experts. And what we can do is make a lot of connections in pursuit of that goal if you decide you want to get super deep in AI. Barry, hello. So is the program in all 3 venues? So the program is in 2 venues, depending on if you're doing the first GSP or the second. If you're doing the first one, it's going to start in Denmark and then comes to Silicon Valley. If you're doing the second one, then that one starts in South Africa, and then you'll be coming to Silicon Valley. So here's that image again that shows you, how the program works. You have GSP 1 in Denmark, and then in August we kick off GSP 2 in South Africa. But no matter what, GSP always gets you back to Silicon Valley. Let's see, Simon, welcome to the call. So what kind of traction is needed? Yep, you can, and also Simon, if you want to go back and listen to this whole video will be recorded, this webinar will be recorded for you, and you can get all the information. But, level of traction is based off of, either revenue, it could be profitability, it could be, letters of intent, phases of clinical trials. I mean, it really just depends on the startup. So we're just looking for startups that have been around for a little while that are ready for that next step. Let's see. Simon asks again, when do applications close? They will close in January, but like I said, if you're interested in, pursuing a scholarship or a sponsorship of any kind, you must apply early, and I mean like as quickly as possible because those will go fast. Let's see, I missed the answer. Oh, got it, okay. Okay, so Jordana asks, is this available for startups planning on raising capital via ICO? Absolutely. Your ICO and your particular way or path for raising capital has very little to do with your ability to be successful in this program. So yep, if you're raising an ICO, you're totally eligible. All right. So Santiago asked another traction question. I think I've covered that one pretty well. Let's see here. Let's see, if not, well, how are we on time? Okay, all right. Did you have something you want to ask?
No.
Okay. Oh, gotcha, there's more questions in another location, okay. Let's see here, Juan says, the application is open just for the Denmark GSP or also for South Africa?
Apply now, and we will take into consideration ultimately where you're going, what would suit best for you, whether it's in Copenhagen or in Johannesburg. Maybe there's a particular market that makes more sense for you to be doing Activate in. So still submit your application now if this is of interest, if either one, because we'll continue this on a rolling basis.
Okay, Simon asks, how long is the program? So it's 8 total weeks of in-person engagement, and it's broken up into 4 sections. So 4 weeks of Activate, and then 4 weeks home with your team, and then 4 weeks of Accelerate in Silicon Valley. And then you've got 12 months of ongoing support after there. So 8 weeks of total in-person time together, and then 12 months of full-on support. All right, Jordana asks, what is the acceptance rate? Historically, we have, one of the lowest acceptance rates, meaning that it's, we might get, between 2,000 to 5,000 applications and accept 60. So it really just depends. I think in previous years, it's 1.3%. But, as we are really scaling out this program, we want to be able to work with more startups. So we expect those numbers to change. Let's see. Juan says, looks like okay, so when you say, is it necessary, so Juan, thank you for your question. When you say it is necessary to have a startup running already, is it necessary that the startup is for profit? What about organizations, foundations, and stuff like that? Yep, so we work with both nonprofit and for-profit startups. Both are completely eligible to apply. In our current portfolio, 20% of our portfolio is nonprofit based. So that is definitely an area that we work in. Let's see, another person says, I got accepted once before due to circumstances, but I couldn't make it. Can I get in again? Definitely apply. I highly recommend it. Let's see, Simon asks, in terms of IP developed during the program, who owns it? You 100% own your IP. We are not in the business of taking your IP. So, you know, that's yours. Let's see here. Pablo asks, we have a running company and we're thinking in a totally new service not launched yet. Can we apply? Pablo, you are 100% would be a good candidate for GSP. And again, you know, that's why we want to work with startups. It's really about, you know, leveling up the startups that are out there to achieve more success, more impact, more scale. Let's see, Burke asks, could I still apply if my startup is non-tech and focuses on building a new social platform that might have 10x impact in a country where social fabric is eroding? Burke, go ahead and apply. We'll definitely take a look. Monique, Adriana says, Monique, is there any difference on the first and second GSP? The main difference is that it's the geographical region. So the first one will take place in Copenhagen. The second one will take place in South Africa. And both end up back in Silicon Valley. So the content in the cohort will be different. I mean, the content will be relatively similar, but the cohort will be very different. The experiences will be similar, but you know the vibe will be different. Great question. Adriana asks, will you take equity on the startup? Only if we invest. So, but that's a typical model. This isn't like you come to the program and we take equity as a part of your participation. That's not how this program works. Somebody asks, would it be possible to get a co-founder from within the program, or is everyone already in their own startup? You know, this particular program is for startups, and so, you know, we're ultimately looking for startups that have teams in place. And, you know, life is life, and so GSP is GSP. People, you know, inevitably can move around, but I can't say one way or the other. We did a pretty good job. The other new questions that came up. Let's see here.
The geography aligned with GSP phases is not exactly intentional. It looks like all the activates take place in another hemisphere, which happens to be true. But in the future will be even more global. So you could imagine 2020, there's activates maybe in India, maybe in Portugal, maybe in Canada, in Amsterdam. So you'll see them all over to really embody the global part of the Global Startup Program. And as Monique said, then for Accelerate, we'll bring you back to Silicon Valley to get into this ecosystem, really get immersed here. So just so happens that they're clustered on that side of the globe.
And the reason that we've done it, you know, the reason that we want to loop the globe in together, because it's about accessing all of the innovation hubs that are already existing all over the planet, and then bridging back and connecting the nodes. And so if we're helping companies build at the billion scale and truly go global, we have to make it very easy for entrepreneurs to be able to navigate the globe, you know, to move between hubs with relative ease. Let's see here. Roxanne says, I had begun my company as a sole proprietor, however, have leveled up over the past years through SU conferences and online learning. I would be newly incorporated with a new, untested team. Would I still be competitive? Go ahead and apply, Roxanne. We'll take a look at your application and either way be in communication. All right, Margaret says, hi, how many people do you expect in the program? The first cohort will have 60 and the second one will have likely around 60 as well. See, loving all the questions. Everybody keep them rolling in. We've got about another 10-ish minutes. Keep going through these. Let's see here. We've got a long question here.
So someone asked, when will we get the presentation? We'll send out a recording of this and a PDF of the slide deck shortly after this. So within the next 2 or 3 days, you can expect a a link thanking you and allowing you to rewatch this webinar and also peruse the deck if you need to. So that will happen by the end of this week for sure.
Yep, so a lot of these are similar. If my company is non-tech focused, can I still apply? You sure can. Let's see. Oh, Marcello, I'm reading yours about Mark Jacobs. Yeah, about Ramez and Pascal. Definitely apply. Let's see here. What is the relationship of Singularity University and Dr. Peters' team at Team A360? Let's see, I don't know if you saw the recent press release. Singularity University had just recently acquired A360 Digital, so we are quite close.
And you'll be able to access some of that or similar content on Connect. Like there's a digital coursework and all of the inspiration digitally will be available to you. That's our virtual platform that we're building.
Let's see here. All right, I think we've done pretty good. I'll kind of pause for another second here if you've got some burning questions. So is there a portfolio of startups that graduated from the previous cohorts? Oh, yes. There are tons of startups that have come out of all of the last decade of GSP. And so you know what, we can probably send that out. A list of all the different startups that have come through GSP. So when we put together this recording for you, we'll also create a list of all the different startups you can go check out and see how they're doing. Well, at least the ones that we are still tracking and in contact with us. And somebody else, yep, you'll get the presentation. All right. From the alumni, anything I missed? Anything that we should tell them before we sign off? Anything they need to know?
Yeah, it's going to be the best experience of your life, and be prepared to handle a lot of information really, really fast, because you're going to need, and be mindful of yourself, because you tend to do 20-hour days. You actually want to do less and have full energy for the next day. But it's an amazing, transformative experience, and you're going to see the world in a whole different lens afterwards.
Yeah. What about you, Darlene?
Yeah, I agree. It's just an incredible opportunity to learn different ways that the world is working. Most people change really who they are by going through the program. They transform themselves. They see someone who can work better world and have a much bigger degree of impact and change on the world.
Yeah, I would just say as the designer really thought about what do startups need to know to prepare for the future and ultimately understand it in a different way than anyone else is teaching right now. So what does it mean for these technologies to converge? What does it mean to really be global by design and to view the world as borderless in the future? How can you tap into these markets and emerging markets in particular and really positively impact the lives of 1 billion over the next 10 years? That's what we're trying to help you unlock.
And I think the last thing I would add is, we give you a lot of resources and a lot of support, especially, through our corporate partnerships and our impact partnerships. And a lot of the value that previous startups have taken from this program is in and around, those early customers, those go-to-market partners, a large corporation that's looking to do a partnership with a startup that is, in the same vertical or doing what you're doing. I see one last question in here about will the participants have access to legal consultation? We do provide a lot of resources for you, and legal is definitely one of them. All right. I think that we have covered all the questions, and I want to thank you all. Oh, got one more that snuck in. Hey, Raphael. Can a startup in the R&D phase for a new source of energy be eligible? Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely apply. All right, everybody. So there's the summary slide up there. If you have any questions, you can email us at ventures@su.org. You can apply at www.su.org/GSP. Please, if you know another startup, that would be good. Referrals are always appreciated. If you want a scholarship or a sponsorship, please do apply very, very early. And have a wonderful day.
We'll see you in Copenhagen, won't we?
Or South Africa.
Or Johannesburg.
Right.
See you soon, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
And once again, that does conclude today's webcast. Thank you for everyone for your participation. You may now disconnect.